Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So today is patch day. That's for all platforms, and we'll be getting the promised class changes that came next week. I made an announcement covering that, a video and everything. But first of all, Avernus hunts. They should be getting a bit easier with regards to the hunt marks, those being the mini bosses, to beat up, as their health will be greatly reduced. I would really like them to add what they did to Chult though, and make it so that when you kill a hunt mark, they guarantee to give you the trophy. That would be very much appreciated. They fixed some typos in the demon web pits, fixed some issues in Undermountain with these enemies not spawning correct creatures, and then we have the big combat and power adjustments. So those of you Barbarian, Warlock and Fighter will be happy to note that your stamina regeneration penalty delay will be going from 2 seconds down to 1 second. So you should noticeably see that your stamina regenerates faster to be able to use those abilities more often. On the Cleric, the Daunting Light ability, this will affect also when you're leveling up, I guess. The radius will go to 12 feet versus 8, which is a significant increase and should help your multi-target damage a good bit better. On Arbiter specifically, you have the Chains of Blazing Light encounter. That restrain effect will no longer break when the enemy takes damage, but the duration was rebalanced, down from 12 seconds to 5 seconds. Then we go to the Fighter class. They just received some big updates, and here's some quality of life improvements with regards to your Vengeance, where Executioner's Cut will only drain 5 Vengeance per activation rather than per hit. And then Executioner's Cut, the tooltip's been updated to clarify that. And the Land Waster's Feat with the Shockwave will only consume 50 Vengeance rather than 50 per target. Then Rogue. Rogue has some particularly big updates here, especially with the stealth rework. So first of all, they just have some tooltip updates on these powers, particularly with damage clarifying to be only affecting powers and not all of your damage, so not like mount powers. Path of the Blades got a little bit of an increase with damage. Smoke Bomb got kind of nerfed and changed. It is actually a bit of a buff though, since you'll be able to cast it a lot more often. The cooldown will be 7 seconds faster. Magnitude overall is an improvement, but on Whisperknife particularly, who were using the 9 hit count, which is now going to be just 4, it's a bit of a nerf, but it's still okay, particularly because the cooldown is much lower. Now the stealth rework, that's going to be a pretty big improvement, especially on Whisperknife, but also on Assassin. You won't have to struggle with that when you're taking damage over time. Stealth regen has been standardized to be like plus 50% on effects, and they will stack up. You're gonna have different sources of that stealth, and then they'll stack up just like this. 150%, you'll have 5 seconds to get your stealth from 0 to full. On Assassin, that means you can use Gloaming Cut, you can use Tenacious Concealment, and Master of the Shadows. That's 150%. It is a damage improvement when you consider your Cunning Ambusher. When you leave stealth, you gain 10% more damage. But moving on, the Whisperknife had some big updates. In particular, your Shadowy Opportunity magnitude decreased significantly from 250 per hit to 150. Now there were some other things like stealth updates here as well. The stealth gain has been increased on Dark Reimbursement. The hidden attacks stealth changed to that 50%. Lurker Assault damage boost gone up to 40%. Still don't think it's that great. One with the Shadow's Feet, cooldown gone down to 12 seconds, and the damage duration gone up to 12 seconds. So you can maintain the damage bonus on that all the time. Razor Action being adjusted so that now it's a 300 magnitude power and can only trigger once every 10 seconds. Return to the Shadow's Feet, stealth gain reduced quite significantly. It is a bit of a nerf, but you can still use it when there's lots of enemies around to gain that stealth per enemy hit. That's the main use for it. And then Vengeance Pursuit. You have the follow-up hit increased to 250 magnitude. It will no longer provide an extra secret 200 magnitude. Then you have some enemies in Undermountain. The Acturia, the Claws of Malar mission should now be easier to beat up with a more reasonable maximum amount of health. You shouldn't have too much trouble doing that. And the cultists in Wormwood have their powers balanced to basically deal less damage. Now with items and economy, ancient enchantments should now clearly show that they have no effect. You can see that nice red text there. This item is obsolete and has no effect. I guess people were still getting caught out by that and contacting support. Armor reinforcement kits will no longer have like a equip level, and the colors, you can get your Far-Touched blue and teal, should now properly unlock from the Far-Touched dye pack. At least it should say it when you're looking in your appearance place here at your colors and you tooltip them. It should show where they come from. So that's everything for the update. Enjoy your class improvements. Unfortunately, Whisperknives have been toned down a bit now. You will want to play it pretty much still the same, to be honest. I covered it pretty extensively in previous videos, particularly when I made my comparison video Assassin versus Whisperknife on the Rogue. That has the details of the different ways you can play it, but ultimately you can still use Shadowy Opportunity, but you'll want to have like Smoke Bomb, Path of the Blades, and then your Blade Flurry. You're still using your Blade Flurry only with stealth, never putting it on cooldown, and then your Path of the Blades and your Smoke Bomb. And that will net you, yes, the most single target damage. You're using Ambush's Haste. You're going to want to use one with the shadows now instead of a return to the shadows, particularly in single target where you don't have enemies to hit to regain that stealth. So this is better. And it also gives you a 5% damage boost all the time now. And then you want to go here, generally with hidden attacks in single target, just because it makes the rotation a little bit easier and should basically not end up using stealth when you shouldn't really need to. But you can still use Dark Reimbursement for multi-target for that burst stealth regen. You can kill everything quicker. So I would go with hidden attacks again with single target. And the last feat, Shady Preparation, very good for getting the cooldowns cut from Smoke Bomb and Path of the Blades. And otherwise, at wills is your Disheartening Strike, Cloud of Steel, features, advantageous position if you're in multi-target. If you're in single target, use Dagger Threat instead, and you'll want to have that Tenacious Concealment there. So again, yeah, Dagger Threat, single target, and advantageous position, multi-target. It's really huge with that forced combat advantage against everything. It's like, yeah, not something you want to give up. And daily powers, since Razor Action is nerfed, it will only hit once for 300 magnitude. It's still good within multi-target. Like if you're in multi-target content, feel free to slot this in instead of like Tenacious Concealment for some extra damage when you use a daily power. But I will switch back once you've used that daily power. And the daily power you'll want to use now is Whirlwind of Blades. Forget that Killing Storm exists and Lurker's Assault. I guess you can mess around it in multi-target content. It could work actually to buff your damage here. Might very well actually be better than Whirlwind. And then single target, it's just Hateful Knives. 200 magnitude. Should proc Enchanter's Hex, at least when they come out with the updates to it. That's about it. Hopefully this is somewhat insightful. I may cover Avernus hunts in dedicated video covering are they worth doing, since they are easier now, but they're still a big grind. Special thank you once again to all of these channel members for their added support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.